Around 2600 BCE, an immense alluvial plain spanning modern-day Pakistan and northwestern India became the staging ground for the most expansive ancient urban network. This map illustrates the geographical scale of the Indus Valley Civilization. Stretching from near the Iranian border to the Yamuna River basin, its territorial footprint was large enough to engulf the contemporary empires of Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. That geographic reach was organized through a mechanical obsession with standardization. Across more than 1,000 distinct settlements, builders used kiln-fired bricks manufactured to an identical 1:2:4 ratio. This demand for precision extended deep into their economy. At the port city of Lothal, archaeologists recovered an ivory scale with divisions of just 1.6 millimeters, the smallest unit of measurement ever recorded in a Bronze Age society. The Indus Valley was the largest and most mechanically precise civilization of the Bronze Age, achieving a level of administrative consistency across its territory that would not be replicated at this scale for over 1,000 years. Yet, if you compare them to their peers in Egypt and Mesopotamia, you notice a glaring omission in the Indus Valley. There are no massive temples, no ziggurats, and no pyramids. Archaeologists have excavated nearly 100 of these cities and found exactly zero evidence of palaces, royal tombs, or monuments dedicated to individual rulers. This presents an archaeological paradox: standardized decentralization. The civilization maintained identical technological and civic standards across over 1 million square kilometers without a centralized authoritarian god-king. The physical evidence points to a complex, mercantile society that directed its collective resources toward engineering its environment, rather than glorifying its leadership. Harappan cities were laid out on a precise grid, with streets running on strict north-south and east-west axes. Settlements featured 2 zones: a raised western citadel on heavy foundational platforms for administration, and a densely packed lower town for the general population. While Egyptian builders relied heavily on sun-dried mud, Harappan engineers constructed these grids using kiln-fired bricks. Firing clay at high temperatures creates a water-resistant, durable material capable of supporting complex infrastructure. That specific water resistance was absolutely vital because the Harappans built the ancient world's most advanced and complex hydraulic networks. They installed covered subterranean drains along the streets, complete with built-in inspection holes for maintenance. Many homes even featured private plumbing and bathing platforms connected directly to city sewer lines. In arid regions, this hydraulic mastery scaled up to ensure civic survival. At the uniquely structured city of Dolavira, builders constructed massive brick-lined reservoirs to capture and conserve seasonal monsoon water. Instead of mobilizing massive labor forces to construct tombs for the dead, the Harappans engineered vast public health and sanitation systems for the living. The urban grid of the Indus was the highly visible core of a much broader, diverse mosaic of cultures flourishing across the Indian subcontinent. While the Harappans built their urban centers, numerous rural, chalcolithic, or copper-using, farming villages thrived simultaneously in the surrounding regions. This map details how these cultures formed a continent-wide supply chain. The chalcolithic Ganeshwar Jodhpura culture in present-day Rajasthan actively mined local copper reserves, pushing those raw resources westward to supply Harappan industrial centers. To feed these massive populations, the civilization relied on a highly productive agrarian base. They utilized fertile floodplains to grow 2 harvests a year, wheat and barley in the winter, and crops like sesame and mustard in the autumn. They also achieved a major agricultural milestone. They were the earliest known cultivators of cotton, harvesting the raw plant fiber to weave textiles. The urbanized cities were the final, high-output stage of a resource extraction network that spanned thousands of miles. That industrial output allowed them to launch an international export economy. The coastal town of Lothal operated as a primary port, featuring a massive, purpose-built brick dockyard. This map tracks the massive maritime and overland trade routes connecting the Indus Valley to the Persian Gulf and Mesopotamia. They exported lapis lazuli, bright carnelian beads, and woven cotton textiles, exchanging them for Mesopotamian silver, tin, and imported grains. The archaeological record confirms this exchange. Achaean texts log extensive trade with a foreign territory they called Meluha, and Harappan trade seals have been excavated directly from the ruins of Mesopotamian cities like Ur. To coordinate international trade without a centralized currency, they utilized a highly organized barter economy. This system functioned through strict adherence to uniform stone weights, which scaled in precise binary and decimal increments, often in multiples of 16. Economic standardization, rather than military might, was the primary tool the civilization used to project power and coordinate a global Bronze Age supply chain. Wealth generated by trade allowed for sophisticated artisanal production. Indus metalsmiths mastered the lost wax casting technique, pouring molten bronze into hardened clay molds to create intricate objects. The result of this metallurgy can be seen in artifacts like the dancing girl statuette from Mohenjodaro. The relaxed posture and the heavy bangles adorning her arm point to a society with a rich cultural life beyond mere civic survival. Similarly, the famous steatite bust known as the Priest King clearly depicts an elite individual. However, because he was found without monumental propaganda typical of Egypt or Mesopotamia, we cannot confirm if he was a political ruler, a religious figure, or a powerful merchant. Artifacts suggest they revered a mother goddess and a yogic figure known as Proto-Shiva. Yet there is no evidence of the heavily institutionalized priesthoods seen in peer civilizations. The greatest barrier to understanding their internal dynamics is their writing system. The Indus script consists of over 400 distinct signs, read from right to left, stamped onto thousands of clay trade seals. The script remains completely undeciphered. Without a readable textual record, the exact political and social hierarchy of the civilization remains a data gap, forcing us to assess them purely on the physical evidence of their public infrastructure. Around 1900 BCE, the civilization entered its late Harappan phase and began a gradual decline. For decades, historians blamed this on an invasion by Indo-Aryan nomads. Modern archaeology has found no evidence to support that theory. Extensive excavations have revealed zero weapon caches, battlefield casualties, or mass destruction layers that would indicate a military conquest. The true catalyst for their decline was environmental. Over centuries, shifting tectonic plates and a weakening monsoon starved the Gagar-Hakra river system of its water. Modern scientific consensus indicates the civilization was not destroyed by violence. It was dismantled by climate change, as the agricultural foundation of the megacities evaporated. This map visualizes a process archaeologists call de-urbanization. The population didn't vanish. As the megacities failed, the people dispersed, migrating eastward toward the Ganges River basin. This dispersal embedded Harappan technological DNA directly into the rural landscape. They carried their agricultural innovations with them, ensuring the continuous cultivation of crops like cotton. Their economic systems survived the urban collapse as well. The highly specific, standardized weights they developed continued to influence South Asian trading networks for centuries. Even their religious iconography, the veneration of nature and early yogic figures, remained, forming a foundational bedrock for later Indian cultural traditions. The architects of the Indus did not fail. They successfully translated the world's most advanced urban experiment into a resilient cultural framework that